One. Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to a special episode of The Monster's Den. And in the co-captain's chairs today, the king is here, Chris Allo, and Craig Kaminsky as well. What's up, gentlemen?
What's going on, fellas? Good to see you.
Good evening, guys. Good to see you again.
We've got a little reaction video for you here today, a reaction show to something that was posted on YouTube just a couple weeks ago. First time we've seen Jason Voorhees. This is called Jason Universe Sweet Revenge. It's a little 15-minute film in conjunction, like a little partnership with Angry Orchard. Angry Orchard, of course, is the cider brewery, which is actually located locally here in the Hudson Valley. Uh, and where this is going to go from here, I don't know, but Chris has some like info on kind of like the behind the scenes, what kind of led up to this and everything. But we've all three of us have watched it a couple of times, and we've got some thoughts on it today. So let me kick it over to Chris to kind of kickstart us off on this discussion here.
Okay, sure. Yeah, if you're a Friday the 13th Jason fan like us, yeah, it's been pretty dry. There's been nothing since the Friday the 13th remake, which I think right was 2008.
Nine.
Nine. Okay,
Yeah,
so
15 years.
long time.
Yeah.
There was a whole rights issue. Victor Miller, who wrote the original screenplay for Friday the 13th 1, did file a lawsuit. There's this whole thing with copyright and with writers and everything. Long story short, it went on for years, and the issues have been settled, and the rights are now I guess broken up into three different companies. So Victor Miller, who wrote the first Friday the 13th movie, has the rights to everything in Friday the 13th, including Pamela Voorhees and Jason Voorhees and Camp Crystal Lake. He is currently, I guess he licensed his works out to A24 and Peacock, and they are working on a brand new television show called, I think it's called just Camp Crystal Lake, and that's going to air on Peacock next year. I know, and all we really know is that it's shooting now. It's shooting in New Jersey, and Linda Cardellini, who's been in a ton of movies, who's quite attractive, she is playing a younger, hotter Pamela Voorhees. And I know I jokingly said to a few friends, "Oh yeah, I would totally put a weird mutant baby inside of her." Now he's got, and I guess this all pertains to television rights, because Sean Cunningham, who directed the first movie, and he, co-produced all the others, and I think he did. He worked heavily on some of the later ones like Jason X and Jason Goes to Hell. Anyway, he owns the rights to everything from part 2 on, and that includes adult Jason and the hockey mask. But he cannot, as far as my understanding, he cannot use the name Friday the 13th. And I don't think Victor Miller can use the name Friday the 13th. New Line Cinema owns the trademark for the names Friday the 13th and Jason Voorhees, and they're the ones that have the film distribution rights. So basically what it comes down to is Victor Miller can do TV stuff, Sean Cunningham can do TV stuff, but if they want to do a movie, they would have to work, I believe they have to work together, and they have to work with New Line Cinema distributing the films. So it's very complicated. And so here we are. Victor Miller's making his show. Sean Cunningham decided to do a short, which, as Pete mentioned, was sponsored by Angry Orchards, and it's only about 15 minutes. The short. Long story short, the star of the movie is a young girl named Eve. It's really not Jason is not the star of this short. She travels out to the woods near Camp Crystal Lake cabins to I guess have a getaway with her boyfriend and her friend.
Two couples. Yeah, there's two couples. Yeah.
Oh, I think it's actually three, but
in the car,
there's another couple or two that we see at the area.
Yeah,
so,
I did, because they don't really introduce them, and you don't know, are they with them? Are they like in
the only time the only time you see him is when Eve is going on her way to the canoe, and she kind of like waves to
They've
another
run by her,
couple.
right?
Or
Yeah.
Yes.
they had towels on or something, like they were going to go swimming or something, and then later on they're dead. So,
Yes.
so
So basically, the first 5 minutes is a little bit of backstory with Eve. She talks to the guy that's renting them the cabin. His name is Harold. He gives her the little bit of the backstory that he and his wife own the property because there was some murders due to revenge and betrayal in the area. I thought he was going to be more like a crazy Ralph character. Long story short, then it kicks in. There's five, if I counted right, off-screen kills, all of which look good, but of course we don't see the actual kills. Then at the 6 minute mark, or almost 6 minutes, our main character Eve gets pulled into the water when she's in a canoe. I watched it frame by frame and rewound it. I'm like, because the first time I watched it, I assumed it was Jason. And I'm like, I don't know if that's Jason. We never see his face.
no.
But she goes down in the water in pure daylight. When she pops up, gasping for air, it's now
Dark.
black as night, and she's got her complexion is a little lighter. Yep. And she's got dark circles around her eyes. She goes back to her cabin to see her boyfriend, her fiance, and her best friend kissing. Um, Jason then shows up, grabs her, chokes her, throws her through the window. And I'm not going to give too much details, but there's two excellent kills by Jason, yet which have to be seen to be believed. I mean, they are like all-star kills for the entire Friday the 13th series.
They used the
Jason,
budget on those.
oh, for sure. Jason stabs Eve, and Jason then grabs Eve's friend, and Eve somehow pulls the machete out of her
Right to her chest. I mean,
right through her
Yes.
chest.
right below her rib bones, right? So
Yeah.
to the
Plus,
floor.
you could hear a crunch too when
Yeah.
he stepped on her shoulder right before he
Oh
impaled her.
yeah.
You actually heard like a crunch. So it
Yeah.
was she got hit.
So they get away, they drive away, and yeah, obviously we should have said spoilers on this, but it's too late now.
It's 15 minutes.
Right. Eve is very quiet. Her friend is driving the car, and she looks at her friend and stabs her friend in the belly. They crash the car.
And her friend is the driver.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, yeah. The friend is the driver. They do pass the sign that says cabins at Crystal Lake. So it never actually says Camp Crystal Lake.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's a copyright thing. Eve and Jason then have a stare down in the woods, and it cuts to black. And
He's got the knife. He's got the machete.
He's got the machete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll save my thoughts till you guys tell us what you guys think.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, for 15 minutes, and obviously you cannot delve too far into character development, or anything like that. You really just have to skim the surfaces. I thought it was a nice little Reader's Digest condensed version of a Friday the 13th movie. I mean, I think it's filmed pretty well, and
Yeah.
it's not totally cheapy. I think it's lit well in the beginning when the two couples are driving in a car. There's a drone shot, because you see the car driving and you see the landscape of the lake and the surrounding forest and everything. That's filmed fine. I mean, the whole thing, we kind of joked about it, Chris and I, earlier, about it's like a sort of long commercial for Angry Orchard, because there's a few scenes where
Oh,
Eve
I should have counted, Craig. Yeah.
is pretty prominently holding the label out. There's another quick scene where the Harold, the camp owner, has this big basket full of nice, beautiful, red, delicious apples. It says freshly picked, while she's got a
And did
Angry
you notice
Orchard
when Eve walks down to the beach, she
in,
doesn't have
in
a
the other
bottle with
hand.
her, and then she all of a sudden appears on the dock by the
Yeah.
lake, and she's
She
got a
like
bottle.
blows into the
Yep.
it blows into the
Where'd that
bottle.
come from?
you know. But I mean, again, you can't really go too far into developing the characters. I mean, I had said to Chris, it's like, the her boyfriend, Eve's boyfriend, well, actually I should say fiance, you she walks in on him making out with her friend, and it's like, well, you don't really have any indication that he's a jerk or anything. You just have to kind of take it as it is. It's just, of what it is. So, I
Although
don't.
actually, the first instance you get that he's kind of an asshole is like when they're all lugging all that heavy bags out of the car. He grabs the light bag with the snacks in it and walks in. Meanwhile, they're all lugging these big
And
suitcases.
and Pete, there's a line where he says something like, "That's it, you can do it."
So in other words,
And then there's a line that I don't think I caught. Not to interrupt Craig, I caught the previous times where the two girls are talking, and the Eve says something like, "Oh, I'm just not sure." Excuse me. And the other girl says, the friend goes, "Don't be so insecure. He
You're
picked you."
he picked you. You're a
And
force of nature.
yes, so I'm like, oh, well, does that mean the friend? Like, were they both vying for this guy's attention and he
Probably.
picked E? I don't know.
Yeah. But he had a man
The
bun.
other guy,
But
what was his part in all
100%. He had a man
that?
bun.
he had a man bun, and
Yes.
he deserved what was coming to him, which was the best part of it,
Yeah,
especially as they kind of led into it with Harold saying that he lent a hand in the instrument that Jason, who actually never, and you never hear his name, correct? Yeah, he
correct.
is.
Yes.
I mean, you just
They
you the
never say his
viewer,
name. They never mention,
yeah, you the
the
viewer know
killer in the
who it
woods.
is.
Yep,
And I think Jason physically looked okay. I think he could have been bigger. He could have been a bulkier dude. I mean, he was obviously physically imposing compared to them because there's a scene where he picks her up, off the ground. She's Eve is a good foot or so off the ground, so he is obviously physically larger than her. But I think he could have been more of a Kane Hodder, bigger dude, at the end, especially at the very end when it's like their little standoff, so to speak, and you don't know whether is Eve going to be like some sort of version of Jason, because technically we were kind of thinking it's like when she got pulled into the lake from the canoe that kind of killed her, hence her, the dead eye look when she walked back to the camp to find the chaos that had ensued. But all in all, hey, for 15 minutes, I think it was fine for what it is, and you could expand it into something else, but just not to be too uh, going too far into backstory about things that people tend to not care about, or to make this into something that's way too long than it deserves to be. But I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it too. But it left it, especially on second viewing, there's a lot of questions I have. Like, so for the first thing is, okay, so does she actually die on the lake? And that is her resurrected, kind of like Jason was, right? We don't know, right? Because obviously, like Chris said, she goes out there in the middle of the afternoon, and then when she comes back out of the water,
It's dark.
it's pitch black nighttime out. And
Yeah.
why are none of her friends or fiance looking for her?
I thought the same thing.
She's been gone for hours, obviously. He's back there making out with the friend. What's the other dude's? What's his role in the total?
He came out of the shower. He had like a
He's like
robe
zipping
on
up
or
his pants.
something.
You know what? So it was, were they like double teaming her or something like that? What was going on? We don't know. But
That
nobody was
might make a
looking.
more interesting movie.
Yeah, but nobody was looking for Eve, obviously. So that's kind of strange. And then all of a sudden she turns into like kind of like almost like a killing machine. First, you know something's up because Jason nails that machete to her right through her chest down to the floor. She pulls it up, she gets back up. You don't see blood spurting all over the place. Obviously that would be like a mortal wound. And she gets up, she runs, they get into the car, she
Yeah.
kills her friend, she's ready to battle him. And I'm like, would that really happen if someone put a machete through your chest all the way through? I don't know about that. So something's up there, something a little on the supernatural. But I
Did
agree with Craig. I think it was shot very well.
Yeah.
Looked like there was some money behind it because nothing looked cheap in it. The acting was fine for what it was.
Nice
Uh,
practical effects.
yeah, practical effects were great. I thought the old guy, the owner of the house, was hilarious. She's out in her bikini laying by the water. He's got the
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, show's over when she puts her flannel shirt back on. I was like, oh, okay, he's one of those guys, right? You know he's going to get it. So, but yeah, I mean, and you have to wonder, like, is this going to lead up to anything? Is this going to be canon at some point going forward? I don't know. With
Did you
this
guys think that
reboot?
I mean, once Eve is impaled, he goes over then to her friend, and the one of the again, I'm it's a minor complaint, but it seems like this is not something that Jason would do, is to like reach for the apple core thing to like it's something that it was like it's too well thought out. Jason is a grab something and just whacker
Especially after he ripped those
or
people apart outside, right? So why would he be
yeah.
subtle?
Yeah,
Yes.
it seemed like it was something that I thought when I watched that the second time, I thought that's like a almost like a I don't know, want to say like a Freddy Krueger type thing, that it's something that's more well thought out, that it's like he's searching for the perfect tool to use, and he puts the apple corer thing, of course, Angry Orchard, like,
Yeah, it's a
and
little
he's
too
he's
convenient.
about ready to maybe like press it down or something, but is stopped, and I thought, he'd just grab a steak knife or something, and something quicker.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you guys said. I watched it 3 times. I still don't know how much I like it. I think my biggest production, you're right, is great. The soundtrack in the beginning was kind of lame, but then when the action kicks in, it very much sounds like a Friday the 13th score.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no nudity, which bothered me, but I assumed that's because it's on YouTube,
Yeah.
so it
Yeah.
probably would have had to been censored. But I think the main thing that really bothers me is after waiting all this time, I mean, we're talking what, 15, 16 years since the last time we saw Jason on screen, and we're finally doing a 15-minute short, and Jason is not the main character. He
Yeah.
is the back character. Eve is the main character in this. And to me, that bothered me. I know it's a new franchise and I know we have to introduce new characters, but I just kept thinking, and listen, Jason's not my all-time favorite, Friday the 13th round is not my favorite franchise, but I just kept thinking, Jesus, the fans waited all this time and they're like, why wasn't the first short just Jason killing people at the cabins, and you
Yeah.
do the second short introducing Eve? To me, that would have made a little more sense.
Because like in a regular, 90-minute film, obviously your main character is the final girl. Usually it's the way it works, but you've got
Right.
Jason prowling around through most of it. So here, yeah, the whole focus is on her, even at the end, right?
Oh,
Or
even at the
back
end.
or back up the revenge and betrayal that Harold talks about. It's like,
Yes.
what do you mean, by that? Maybe like Chris said, show the reason for that, why he said that.
Yeah. And I do 100% agree with Craig. I think Jason looked fine in the earlier shots, but in that final shot where they're standing, it's a standoff and they're looking at one another in the woods. Jason looks really fucking small. I mean, I laughed. Like he looks like he's a teenager. Like he just does not look
And
imposing
I would have
whatsoever.
liked, and I said this to Chris earlier, that I would have liked to have seen uh an acknowledgement, or something. It's like, because it's like, okay, if they're gonna rush each other and fight, okay, I think Jason's gonna take her. But I kind of thought that it's like, they both show that they're holding weapons, each in their left hands, and I kind of was waiting for the head nod, or the head tilt or
Right.
something from Jason to kind of like acknowledge that, hey, I killed you. I thought, what are you doing back here? And you killed your buddy and everything. And then maybe then it could end or something like that, maybe to show that they're on the same side, or that they could be on the same side. I
Well,
don't know.
I wondered too, are they going to make them opponents, or is Eve going to be a sidekick? Because they tried to do that in the last Halloween movie. There was the teenage kid. I mean, they had it too in Maniac Cop 2, where the guy was sort of helping. So I don't know. Wouldn't you get more mileage if it was a sidekick character? Although, does Jason need help killing people in the woods?
Not really.
And I just think when it ended, I'm like, boy, there's a lot of questions here.
Yeah.
Reminded me of the Alien Earth ending, which was like,
Oh, which I didn't even get to
which
that
was
yet.
open, but I'm saying an open-ended,
Gotcha. Yes.
sort of unsatisfying ending, but where it was kind of like, well, why didn't they do X, Y, Z,
Yeah.
instead?
Yeah. I think they could have done this whole thing just with Jason and then done a second one introducing Eve. But either way, there's not a ton. I think the Jason Universe as a on YouTube, they only have like 30,000 subscribers, and I think this short has like 250,000 views,
You would think it'd
which
be in the millions, right?
for a franchise as big as Friday the 13th, a movie, a popular franchise puts out a trailer and it's in the millions like in a day, a couple days. So, wow, I don't know what to think. I wonder if the Sean Cunningham got the results they wanted. And it will be interesting to see, like, okay, once the Crystal Lake show is out, and if Sean Cunningham goes forward with more Jason stuff, like, is this going to be confusing for fans? Because Victor Miller apparently, or somebody connected to Peacock, already said, oh, they have plans to do an adult Jason in the future. And I'm just assuming that means, okay, he'll be like monstrous looking like he was in the first movie, but he can't wear the hockey mask,
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
which
Yeah, it
makes you
has
think, how is that going to be?
262,500 views, and it dropped on August the 13th.
Okay.
So,
I
It's not
mean,
a lot.
that's not a lot for, such a huge franchise.
yeah.
So,
Maybe just people, maybe they're just not, there's no marketing behind it. People don't know
and
about
that could be, I mean, their Angry Orchard did release a Jason can on their, which I never saw in stores. I looked for it. And the interesting thing that I heard about it too late, as Pete said, Angry Orchards is in the Hudson Valley. I heard about it too late. A friend of mine sent it to me the day of, but the day that it was premiering on YouTube, Angry Orchard had an event up here in the Hudson Valley. The tickets were cheap, and they gave you a couple sample drinks, and they had big tents and projectors. They had the cast and crew that you would watch it with, and a Q&A. Of course, it was sold out. And then the bummer was the very next day, I saw a Facebook friend of mine posted that he had 3 tickets that he couldn't use, and he was giving them away for free, but I
Mhm.
guess nobody even saw it. So I was like, oh, nuts. I would have, the timing didn't work, but I would have totally went to that.
yeah, for sure. All in all, though, pretty good though.
Yeah.
I'm anxious to see like kind
It
of
could have been worse. Yeah. Be curious
so
to see where it goes.
what's the start of the Crystal Lake series? Like when is
There's
that?
no date yet. And they're actually shooting right now. They started shooting in August. It's supposed to shoot until sometime in October. They did not say when it's going to air, but next year, 2026, there are 3 different Friday the 13th on the calendar year. So I'm going to assume that they would start the series around one of those Friday the 13th, even though they can't use the name Friday the
Right.
13th.
I would
Do you
think
know if
probably
it's going to be
closer
a
to
peer?
Halloween.
Do you know if it's going to be a period show, or is it going to be modernized for today? I mean, to make her young, to make if she's younger.
Craig, that's an excellent question, because what I don't know is I believe it's a prequel, or I shouldn't say that. I believe it takes place before the first movie. But Pete said the $1 million question a second ago. I don't know if the movie is canon, if that makes sense. So this is supposed to take place a few years before the movie, but if this show does well, they don't want to end the show because they're coming to the timeline of the movie.
Mhm.
So I don't know how that exactly is going to work. Like, I thought that this was going to take place in the 70s, I thought, but I don't know if that, the Friday the 13th timeline is notoriously screwed up.
Oh yeah.
So, I don't exactly know, Craig. I'm sure we'll know soon, but yeah, I don't know if that's, if the Friday one is canon to this, to this story. And I'm assuming it's not canon to the Jason universe, because Sean Cunningham doesn't have those rights to movie one.
Gosh,
But Pamela Voorhees is in part two,
too. Yeah.
so I would assume he could use her, but very messy.
The tangled web.
Yes.
We'll have to wait and see then. All right. So what I'll do is I'll post the link to this short film down in the comments below for those who have not seen it yet. It's only 15 minutes, maybe just shy of 15 minutes. So not a lot of time to go soak it in and see what you think. And leave your comments down below. And we'll have to wait and see what happens, right? So
That's it.
yeah, so cool. Well, thanks for watching, everybody, on this little kind of reaction to Sweet Revenge. Jason Voorhees is back. For how long, we shall see. But thanks for watching. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram all the
All the
damn time.
damn time.
Please subscribe if you haven't already and click on that notification bell so you get alerted of all of our content as a post. And please do hit the like button before you leave. For Chris Allo, Craig Kaminsky, I am Pete Pardo. Thanks for watching us here on The Monsters Den. See you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.